So I don't know what it is, but for some reason, all of the sneaker releases that have been pushed back from earlier on in the year all got pushed to like the beginning of November. So even though the first half of November was originally pretty dry, it looks like we're getting all the big sneaker releases that we missed out on, like Off-White Air Jordan 2s and Gundam Nike Dunks and Jordans and Yeezys and all sorts of crazy stuff is now dropping in like the next 2-week period. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and this is Sit or Sell. Before we dive into all of the crazy releases in the first half of November 2021, I want to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, the Deadstock app, where incidentally you can actually grab most of these sneaker releases. Deadstock is a new global platform made by sneakerheads for sneakerheads, where you can buy, sell, and trade the latest sneakers, clothing, and accessories. Deadstock is a revolutionary new platform that integrates new technology to make sneaker buying, selling, and trading more accessible and more fun. Honestly, the way that it used to be before things got crazy. Deadstock's goal is to bring back the enjoyment of truly collecting sneakers, which to be honest is why we're all here. We're here to enjoy sneakers and enjoy wearing sneakers. In addition to that, they also have their brand new AI legit checking system called Heat Check. Heat Check catches things that the untrained eye would never be able to see, like slight discolorations and texture differences. When a product finally passes Deadstock's rigorous authentication, that product is tagged with an NFC tag that's actually backed by the blockchain. And one other thing that I really love that I didn't realize was such a big deal until I noticed that no one else had it other than Deadstock. Deadstock actually has a shopping cart, so when you order multiple items, you can order them all at once rather than ordering them individually. So make sure to download the Deadstock app today by clicking the link in the description below, and make sure to follow the Deadstock app on Instagram for more updates and information on the Deadstock app and new features coming very soon. But with that, let's dive right into Sit or Sell for the first half of 2021. Starting things off on November 2nd, we've got the Jordan Series .03 Dear 90s. So this lifestyle model comes in a very unique 90s style colorway. The shoe features bright yellow and neon green suede hits, as well as a cheetah print pattern around the bottom of the tongue, which I thought was kind of interesting. As you could have expected, the shoe is inspired by the crazy and eclectic look of the 90s, and because of that features mismatching colors and patterns throughout. I actually still haven't tried a pair of Jordan Series .03s before. It's not a sneaker I see often in stores, and it's also not a sneaker I'm that excited about. I'm also wondering how popular this sneaker actually is and how many pairs they actually make of this shoe. And I guess that all leads me to believe that I don't think that this colorway of the Jordan Series .03s will sell out. Moving on to November 3rd, we've got the women's Nike Air Huarache Koromoje, I think. This Nike Air Huarache is designed for the chillier nights, as Nike puts it, and is made to look like a very winterized version of the Nike Air Huarache. The sneaker features dark suede paneling as well as bright orange and bright blue accents, and overall it has a very sort of winter and late fall vibe to it. Now I honestly have no idea how to pronounce what this sneaker's name actually is. I don't know if it means anything, I don't know if it's from a different language. If you guys know, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. But with that being said, I don't know how popular of a sneaker this shoe is going to be, especially because it's just coming in women's sizes, and so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. After that, also dropping on November 3rd, we've got the Nike Blazer 77 Low Coconut Milk. So this shoe seems to be part of the same sort of chillier nights or fall themed collection. The sneaker features an entirely suede upper that also comes in sort of a light tan or I guess off-white color. Some of my favorite details on the shoe are the color accents like the orange on the heel and the sort of olive green on the Nike swoosh, and overall it's a very clean looking pair of Nike Blazer Lows. I'm assuming they're calling it the coconut milk colorway because it comes in sort of a coconut milk color. He needs some milk, I don't know, but it's a nice looking sneaker and it's something that if I find on sale, maybe I'll pick up. Man, I just throw memes in general conversation. Sometimes I don't even mean to do it. It just happens. I'm a meme lord. Regardless, the coconut milk Nike Blazer Lows are a nice looking sneaker, but I just don't think they have that sort of hype behind them to make them sell out, so for that reason, I'm giving them a sit. Next up, also on the 3rd, we've got another milk-themed Nike Blazer. This time around, it's the Nike Blazer 77 High Dark Chocolate. Isn't it kind of weird that Nike's released like 4 different milk or chocolate-themed sneakers in the last like month and a half? We've got these 2 shoes, and then we also just had the strawberry milks and the chocolate milks that released in collaboration with Social Status on a pair of Dunks. I don't think I've ever seen this many milk-themed sneakers release at once, ever. As you probably could have guessed, this shoe comes in chocolatey brown tones. You've got a dark brown suede upper with sort of a brownish orange Nike swoosh, and overall it's a good looking sneaker, but again I don't know if the hype is there for this one, so for that reason I'm giving this shoe a sit. Finally, rounding off November 3rd, we've got the women's Nike Dunk High Next Nature Summit White. That name is entirely too long. I don't know why they named a sneaker that, but that's crazy. And again, it seems like Nike is really leaning into this winterized theme. And if you read the bio about this sneaker on the Nike Sneakers app, it talks about stumbling into somewhere with a big puffy jacket and getting into a big puffy sleeping bag. It's all about sleeping outdoors or being comfortable. I don't know what the deal is with this, but it's not a bad looking sneaker. It's definitely got some very heavy theming. It comes in sort of fall colors and features that sort of puffer coat stitching on it. I actually really dig this colorway and kind of wish that it came in all sizes, not just women's sizes, but it is what it is. And I think at this point it's pretty obvious that all Nike Dunks are selling out, so because of that, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Moving on to November 4th, we've got the Prada Nike Air Max 1 Aqua Noise. So this shoe is the second of the two colorways of the Prada Nike Air Max 1 collaboration. And to be fair, this is probably one of the most creative Nike Air Max 1 collaborations to ever release, even though it's a pretty subtle collab. Essentially what Prada did was take the main panel of the sneaker that sort of separates the upper of the shoe from the midsole and give it this really interesting sort of wavy texture. And I've got to say, it makes the sneaker super unique, and I really love both colorways. The orange one that's already dropped was fire, and this Aqua Noise colorway is also really clean. If I had to choose one, I probably would go with the orange because I like that color better. I know a lot of you guys would say that it matches my beard, and that's probably true, but at the same time, that's not why I like the sneaker. I'm also learning from a lot of these comments on my videos that a lot of the things that I own, specifically hats and sweatshirts and things like that, they all kind of are the exact same color as my stupid beard. Not that it matters, but you guys have pointed it out, so I figured I might as well acknowledge that I see those comments. But back to the sneaker itself, I think it's a great collaboration. I love what Prada did, and I will absolutely be trying to grab a pair of these for myself. And of course, the Aqua Noise colorway of this shoe will absolutely sell out. And then rounding off November 4th, we've got the women's Air Jordan 14 Low Shocking Pink. And you know what? I can't actually think of a better name for this sneaker than Shocking Pink. This shoe is shockingly pink. This Air Jordan 14 Low comes with a hot pink suede upper, accented by a sort of infrared pink midsole, and a more purpley pink midfoot panel. You've got to have a certain kind of personality to be able to pull off this shoe. This shoe is bright, it's crazy, and it will absolutely attract attention. And I also don't really like the fact that all the pinks on this shoe are like different versions of pink. They're not all the same sort of like tone. They're not all like different shades of like a reddy pink. One's hot pink, one's reddy pink, one's purpley pink. They're all kind of different and they don't really go together. They all kind of clash. I don't know, it's not for me, but again, it's a women's sneaker and not something I would buy anyway, so it doesn't really matter what I think. But regardless, I think there will be some people who are interested in this shoe, and as of right now, even though Jordan sales are slowing down a little bit, because I think there's going to be less pairs of this shoe than most other pairs of Jordan retros, I still think that this shoe will have a lot of demand, and for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Moving on to November 5th, we've got two different colorways of the Adidas Trae Young 1. I still think it's a missed opportunity if Adidas and Trae Young don't do a Young 1 colorway together. I feel like that would just be stupid not to do. But whatever, the two shoes that are dropping are a black and white colorway of the sneaker and a green and orange colorway of the shoe. And I actually still have yet to try out this sneaker, so I don't really know anything about it other than how it looks. I'm actually kind of interested to see other people's performance reviews of this shoe, like Wear Testers and the Soul Brothers and people like that, just to get an idea of how this sneaker actually performs on court. Aesthetically, the sneaker reminds me a lot of other Adidas basketball shoes, which would make sense, but I am honestly really excited to see what Jerry Lorenzo does with Adidas and what he does with the basketball line, and see if he makes things a little bit more exciting than they have been in the past. As far as whether I think this shoe will sell out in either colorway, I don't think there's really any hype behind these sneakers, and while I think Trae Young is one of the best basketball players out right now, I just don't think his shoes are that exciting, and for that reason, I'm giving both of these colorways a sit. So next up, we've got the Nike Air Trainer 3 Saquon Barkley. Nike, you're killing me. You keep pushing back this shoe in like increments of like 2 or 3 weeks, so I keep talking about it in sit or sell videos. Guys, what are you doing? Come on, just like release it. That's really all I've got to say about this sneaker at this point. I've said it before and I'll probably say it again. I think this shoe will most likely sell. Next up, also dropping on November 5th, we've got the Nike Dunk Low Championship Gray. This is another shoe that's been pushed back from previous sit or sell videos, but to be honest, it hasn't been pushed back as many times as the Saquon Barkley, so I'm not that mad about it. The sneaker itself is one of those classic Nike Dunk Low colorways. It features a light gray upper accented by a much darker gray on the overlays, and honestly, it's probably one of the most wearable Nike Dunk Lows to drop in a very long time, and so for that reason, I definitely think this shoe will sell out. Also dropping on November 5th, we've got two different colorways of the Comme des Garçons Nike Air Foamposite 1s. It's been a minute since I've talked about Foamposites on sit or sell. If you look back at like some of my first sit or sells from like 2017, 2016, they were like in every other video, but now It seems like they just haven't dropped too many, which honestly makes sense because I feel like the Foamposite silhouette is kind of played out. People aren't as excited about it anymore, so it is interesting to see a brand like CDG take a sneaker that's so basketball focused and try and turn it into something that's more high fashion and lifestyle. So the CDG Nike Air Foamposite 1s come in 2 different colorway, a monochromatic all white and a monochromatic all black, and they both feature a really interesting newly sculpted upper. Other than the pattern on the upper, it seems like the overall construction of the shoe remains almost exactly the same as every other Foamposite before it, but what doesn't remain the same is the price point. Apparently, each one of these shoes are going to retail for $520, which I know is insane. Just the price point alone makes me think that there must be something about this sneaker that's special other than the new upper. Maybe there's like diamonds in the toe or something. I don't know what's going on with this shoe, but $520 retail? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. It also makes me wonder how limited this shoe actually is. Are there gonna be like 5 pairs of this sneaker? Like, is that the reason it's so expensive? Are they trying to capitalize on the hype? Being from Baltimore, I honestly was pretty excited about this shoe coming out, and if it had been standard retail, I probably would have grabbed a pair. But for $520, that's a tough sell, and honestly, I'd probably only buy it to do a video with it. I wouldn't buy it for personal wear because I feel bad rocking a shoe that retails for that much. That's not true. A lot of designer shoes cost that much, dress shoes cost that much, but a shoe that usually retails for $200 retailing for $320 more, that's crazy to me. And honestly, because it's a CDG collaboration, it probably will sell out in both colorways. And then rounding off November 5th, we've got the Billionaire Boys Club Adidas Human Race NMDs in sort of a steel gray color. So as you probably could have guessed, this shoe is a collaboration between Adidas and Pharrell's brand Billionaire Boys Club. The sneaker features Billionaire Boys Club branding throughout, like that little spaceman embroidered onto the shoe, and it comes in a really interesting steel gray color. I've got to be honest, I think this colorway is really clean. I love the cream hits and the blue hits, and I think overall it's a great looking sneaker. Now obviously the popularity of Pharrell Human Race NMDs has died down significantly over the last couple years, but I think because the shoe is a collaboration with Billionaire Boys Club, it might still be somewhat popular. However, will this shoe actually sit or sell? Will you be able to walk into like an Atmos or a Lapstone and Hammer and see this shoe a week after it releases? I don't know, but I'm gonna be optimistic and say that I think this shoe may end up selling out. Moving on to November 10th, we've got 2 different colorways of the Nike Blazer 77 mid dropping. The 2 colorways releasing are the Sequoia Quilt colorway and the Sail Quilt colorway. And it seems like these shoes are still part of that sort of fall or winterized theme that they've got going on through the month of November. Each shoe features a quilted multicolor upper, with the Sequoia Quilt version of the shoe coming in browns, pinks, and greens, and the Sail version of the shoe coming in more sails and blues. And actually, I think both of these colorways are very clean. If I had to pick one, I might go with the Sail colorway because I like this sort of lighter tones a little bit better, but they're both super nice. That said, I think that this release might be overshadowed by another release that we have yet to talk about on the 10th, and I just don't think there's a lot of hype behind either of these colorways, so for that reason, I'm giving both of these shoes a sit. Also dropping on November 10th, we've got the Nike Air Force 1 Toasty. Again, this shoe seems to be part of the same sort of theme. In fact, it looks very similar to the quilted versions of the Nike Blazers. I don't know why they didn't call this the Air Force 1 Quilted. Maybe there already is an Air Force 1 Quilted. Instead, they gave it this stupid name of the Toasty. Like, what the hell? What is that? The shoe comes in army green tones with what seems to be sort of a pinkish color on the midfoot, and overall is a pretty clean looking Nike Air Force 1. But like I've said with a lot of the other shoes in this collection, I don't think the hype is there, and usually hype is what drives sales, so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. And then finally, rounding off November 10th, we've got a shoe that a lot of people have been anticipating, the Nike SB Dunk High Gundam. So this is another shoe that we've already talked about because it was supposed to release last month and then got pushed back, but it's such a fire sneaker, I'm okay talking about it again. This shoe comes in a white leather upper accented by red hits along the sides of the paneling, as well as a Velcro Nike swoosh that comes in sort of a geometric yellow color that you can pull off and reveal a different swoosh underneath. And of course, because it's a Gundam themed sneaker, it comes with robotic Gundam style hits throughout the shoe as well as a Gundam logo on the heel. Now, I personally know nothing about Gundam, absolutely nothing. I have nothing against it, I just don't know anything about it. And because of that, I don't have much else to say about this sneaker other than I think it's a really nicely designed shoe and I love the sort of robotic vibes that it has. I realize real Gundam fans would have a lot more to say and probably have a lot more to contribute to the actual story of this shoe, but unfortunately I know nothing about it, so because of that, I'm just gonna give this shoe a sell because it will absolutely sell out. Moving on to November 11th, we've got the Air Jordan 13 Low Singles Day. This Air Jordan 13 Low features a primarily black upper accented by glow-in-the-dark light green hits throughout. And I think when the shoe was first leaked, people thought that it was like a Halloween-themed sneaker because it had some glow-in-the-dark hits. I thought it was a Halloween-themed sneaker, but it turns out it's a Singles Day sneaker, and because of that, it's only releasing in Asia. While I think it's a really cool concept, and I like the idea of a glow-in-the-dark Air Jordan 13, I think the overall aesthetic of the sneaker is not exactly for me, and honestly, if I had to pick one Singles Day themed sneaker, I don't think I'd go with this one. I'd probably go with some of the pairs that released over the last couple years. That said, it's a really cool sneaker, and I love the fact that it reveals some really cool design details when the shoe actually glows in the dark, and because it's a hyped up Air Jordan 13 that's only releasing in Asia, I definitely see this shoe selling out. Then again, I saw some images on social media last week of a bunch of Air Jordan sneakers not selling out in China. I don't know if that's going to be the case with this shoe, but I would guess because it's a more limited version, it probably will, but who knows? Also, I've heard from some of my Asian viewers that it's actually really difficult to get shoes in Asia, so I don't know if the images are right, or if they're right, or if there's some weird middle ground. In some areas it's really easy to grab shoes, in other areas it's not. I have no idea. Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below if you know. Then moving on to November 12th, we've got two highly anticipated colorways of the Off-White Air Jordan 2. The two colorways that are dropping are obviously the black and blue colorway and the white and red colorway, and I think it's fair to say that out of the two colors, the white and red is by far the most popular and the most sought after. So initially, I wasn't really a fan of this sneaker. I just didn't love the cracked midsole. I thought it was a little bit weird, but once I learned more about the story of the sneaker, it made more sense. That said, I still don't love the sneaker, but if I can grab a pair for retail or grab a pair to review, I absolutely will. So according to Virgil Abloh, the concept behind this sneaker is that this shoe is an exact replica of a game-worn pair of Michael Jordan's Air Jordan 2s. That's why it has a signature, that's why it has a cracked midsole, because he pulled it out of the archives and the shoe itself had a cracked midsole, which I think is actually really interesting. I love the fact that we're going to have the option to actually be able to buy a pair of sneakers that look just like a pair of game-worn Air Jordan 2s, like a legit game-worn pair. And even though I don't love the aesthetics of the cracked midsole, I think it's a really cool concept, and the way that it was actually done, where it seems like it's actually cast in some sort of resin so it has some clear parts, really is a cool concept. What's interesting to me though is the fact that these shoes seem to stray so much from any other Off-White sneaker that Virgil has ever released. Like, none of his other Off-White shoes have had this same sort of concept behind them. They've all been like deconstructed takes on Air Jordan sneakers, not exact replicas of classic Air Jordan sneakers. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I think that it's great that he's trying something different. I think artists do grow and change what they do as they go along, but it just doesn't seem very Off-White to me. It seems like something that Jordan Brand would release maybe through like Trophy Room or on their own. All that being said, I am still pretty excited about seeing this pair in person and trying to figure out how he made it all work and see all the little details that he kind of hid throughout the sneaker. I think that's really cool, but let's be honest, even though this might not be one of the most hyped up Off-White Air Jordan sneakers of all time, it still will be incredibly difficult to get. It's still probably going to be very limited, and for that reason, I think both colorways, even the black and blue colorway that people don't seem to like that much, will probably sell out and sell out very, very quickly. Then moving on to November 13th, we've got the Air Jordan 12 Royalty. So I'm sure you can see right away the resemblance that this shoe has to another Air Jordan 12 colorway, namely the Taxi colorway. The upper of the shoe comes in a white leather accented by a black mudguard as well as a black midsole and a black outsole, but where the shoe differs are the gold accents on the lace eyelets and on the midfoot of the sneaker. Personally, I kind of go back and forth on the Air Jordan 12s. I had a period where I really loved that sneaker. I tried to grab every colorway of the shoe. I think I had maybe like 12 pairs at one point. But I realized as I got older, I just couldn't keep wearing it. It just felt too much like a boot on my foot. And as much as I like the overall design of the shoe, it's just not something I could personally wear. And because of that, I kind of stopped buying them and got rid of my pairs. The colorway of this pair though is just so clean and so wearable. And I don't have any 12s in my collection at the moment, so it might have to be a pair that I'll end up picking up. As far as availability of this shoe, I think it should be relatively widely available and not impossible to get. It will still probably be a shoe that you're going to have to enter raffles for, and you might not be able to walk into a store and grab, but it shouldn't be impossible to get. That said, I still think that the Air Jordan 12 Royalty will sell out. And then finally, rounding off today's video with a potential first half of November release with the Adidas YEEZY Boost 350 V2 blue tint restock. So as of right now, there is no official release date for this shoe, but it does look like the blue tints from 2017 will be restocking in November of this year, so sometime in the next couple weeks. Now, as far as I can tell, these blue tints will remain relatively unchanged from the 2017 pair. I don't think these pairs were manufactured in 2017. I think it's a whole new production run, but they should look almost identical to that pair. I'm assuming this release is going to be similar to the multiple releases that the Zebras had. I think it's going to be the same sort of thing. If you're not familiar with the Yeezy Boost 350 V2 blue tints, it's essentially a blue and gray version of the Zebras. And while it might not be one of the most classic 350 colorways, it's definitely sought after, and this restock is definitely going to be highly anticipated for a lot of people. Unfortunately, again, we don't have a release date for this shoe just yet, but the reason I included it is because I would not be surprised if it happened in the first half of November. And of course, if the blue tint 350s end up releasing, they will definitely sell out. But that's pretty much all of the sneaker releases that we know about for the first half of November 2021. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on all of these sneaker releases and which shoes you're looking forward to picking up most, so make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Once again, huge thank you to Deadstock for sponsoring today's video. If you guys want to check out Deadstock for yourself, I definitely recommend clicking that link in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.